All right. Share my screen with you. Praise be to Yah. All right. Can you see my screen, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So this in particular Torah portion is going to be chapter number 25 and is going to end, I believe, at the end. Is it the end of 27? 26. Terumah. It's going to end. Yep. So we only have chapter number 25, 26, and 27. That's what we have. Only these three chapters. And of course, we read a little bit every single day. I think this is one of the, I don't know if it's a tough Torah portion, because usually we try to, find out different things on how the Most High wants us to see things. And what we find in here is a lot about the Most High's measurements. And we find about the Ark of the Covenant. We're going to be talking about the menorah. We're going to be talking about things that we've talked about before, And so every time I read the Torah, I always try to find something that could be applicable to our lives. And how could this change us, as his people? And what does the Most High want to show us? Because it is in the book of Shemot, which has to do with the names, which also has to do with the Most High's character. So we need to find, and then also too, the names of these objects and what do they mean, right? And what is the features of, like, for example, the Ark of the Covenant, what does it really represent? What does the menorah represent? So it's a representation. So they might not be a person, but they do have a name. And we understand in the Hebrew language that the letters are real and they're alive and they're active and they're supposed to teach us something. So when it talks about, and he spoke Yahweh to Moshe, saying, going on reading from right to left, he gave him command to speak to the sons of Israel. Daber de el bnei of Yisrael. I need you to wayiku, okay, meaning I need them to bring to me to li a terumah. And that's our word for our Torah portion. Again, just to kind of let you know, in our Torah portions, generally the name of the Torah portion could be found in the first line or the second line of the Torah portion. In this case, it is found in chapter 25, verse number 1. So this word right here, Terumah, okay, that's the T. This is a resh, which is a R. That's the U vowel. That's the M. And then, of course, here's the A. Okay. So Terumah. Hearing that A lets us know we want to pour down some features to us. It's feminine. It's feminine. Can somebody tell me what you believe or what you think or may understand about this this in particular name? And you should remember this name. I'll spell it out for you just in case you didn't know. Let me see here. Or in case you didn't know how to spell it. Terumah. Okay, it's called Terumah. Okay, Terumah. So in Hebrew, nouns can actually be also verbs. They go together, nouns and verbs. You can take one noun and turn it into a verb. Okay. So looking at this, me understanding the language and understanding the letters and what they mean, if I was to turn this into a verb in action, okay, because it says it's an offering, which it is, it's a contribution, but in it, I see what these letters actually mean. Okay. What they actually literally mean. Okay. And I can actually see a root in here as well. Okay. So the first letter I see is a tav, okay, called a T-A-W, ta. Okay. And the ta, when it's put on the front of any word, it means what? I want you all to call me Loretta. It's my right as a man. Shalom.
You.
Yeah, it means you. Thank you. Let me put this here. Presentation, mute all. All right, I'm sorry about that. If you need to unmute yourself, I had to do that. Right there. All right. So it means you. That's exactly what it means, Dr. Red. It means you. Okay. Then it says there's room right here. Okay. In the Hebrew, room, okay, spelled R-U. It sounds like R-O-O-M. Same pronunciation, very similar letters, a R, an R, and an M, and an M. This U right here, represented by this wa with this dot on the side, okay? When you look at that word room, it has to mean to rise. That's what it means. Okay. And so when the Most High is asking for this contribution, he's asking that you would lift, because to rise means to lift something up. Okay. So I want you to lift something up before me. I want you to lift it up. I want you to take your hands and I want you to lift up. The reason why it's feminine, and the reason why he's described it as a feminine, is because it's something that has to be done, okay, from your feminine side. And what is your feminine side? All of us have it.
The fish.
There you go. Your nephesh is your soul, and your soul is feminine. The reason why it's feminine is simply because it has to do with action. Okay. So we have a few examples of feminine taking action. Okay. So the first one I want to start with is this word called Adama. Okay. Does anyone know what Adama means? Adama? What is Adama? Adama is land.
Ground, land.
Yes, it's the land, it's the ground, it's the earth. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So in the word Adama, you see the ending called ah. Okay. The root right here is called Adam. And this is where man's taken from. He's taken from the earth. Okay. But what else came out of the earth?
Is it the
What is the
water?
Adama? Okay. What else? Yes. Okay. So the Adama, she brings forth. So not only did she bring forth Adam, which is humanity, she brought forth the trees. She brought forth with the fruits off those trees. She brought forth the grasses. She brought forth the shrubs. Anything comes from her. It's the action. It's a bringing forth. So when something is being brought forth from the Adamah, how does it come out?
From the ground.
Yes. Okay, so let's take the dirt And then we plant what you would call a seed. The seed then, looking like Hebrew, remember the seed looks like a little cell right there. It comes in, the seed pops open, and then it goes from a seed and then it takes roots in the ground. Okay. And then all of a sudden, once the root system is established, then a blade comes out like this. And the first time the blade comes out, it's green. Okay. And then it starts growing. Then as it starts growing over a process of time, depending on what it's growing, then the stalk will turn to a different color. Okay. And then after that, it'll start blossoming. It'll come with them heads on it like this, little heads, little extra seeds. And then once those develop, it'll burst into either some type of flower or whatnot. And then it will then blossom into what its intention exactly was. Like it would then become, either grass or it become some type of vegetable or whatever it may have been. Okay. So, but my point is it always blossoms. It always has this process of time, but everything has to rise. Okay. And that's what this word has to do with. And that's why it's feminine. So the man is risen out. So when the Most High took us out of the earth, man, he arose, he stood up on his feet, and he stands erect. Okay. When the tree came out of the ground, right, out of Adamah, it stands erect. Okay. You see? Listen to me. When any grass or anything of, it stands up erect. Okay. That's what it is. And it's a rising of it. It's a standing firm. But then, of course, you need to have a good foundation in order for something to be able to stand firm. You need a good foundation. So what the Most High is asking here is for them to rise up and to stand up and to bring me something. Okay. I need you to bring me something. And so we're going to talk about that. I just wanted to let you know what this in particular Torah portion is about. Okay. It's about rising up. It's about lifting up. Okay. Anyone have any questions? And let me finish also too. So the action of the soul. Okay. So you ask, well, what's the connection with the soul? Well, the soul, since it's feminine, it's only going to be driven by an action of doing or giving or rising up or doing something in what I would say my word response. It has to have some type of response. So the Most High has given us a call of action. This is why he asked them to speak, and he gave it a command. Okay. So just like when he commanded everything in the heavens, the Most High is commanding us. Just like when he said, let there be, and it happened. So the expectation is if I say something, I'm looking for something or someone to respond. Okay. I'm looking for a response. I'm the initiator. So the very words that the Most High is saying, he's speaking directly to the soul of the individual. And it's amazing what he's looking for. Okay. I'm going to share with you what he's looking for. So when we read this before, we didn't really understand it. And the femininity of us has to be bent on service. It has to be bent on response. You see? Because remember, the Most High said, I was a husband to Israel. What do you mean your husband to us? I'm a husband. And what I was looking for, just like when I made the marriage covenant with you, I'm looking for a response from you for you to serve me, for you to be responsive to the things that I said. I'm looking for you to, number one, guard what I said, listen and obey, Shema, Shemoah, and then guard what I said. See? So Yah's not speaking here in vain. He's looking for a response. So we can get that from Terumah. Terumah is used, I forgot how many times, but every time it's mentioned, it's talking about a contribution and it's talking about an offering, all right? And what happened in the religious world is they've taken what this means and now they've turned it into some type of religious term. Like I don't have anything to offer the Most High. And if I can't do it the way that they did it, then it's not going to be received. And that's not true. The Most High is speaking this because he's looking for a response to teach us what you would say a lesson. There's a lesson to be learned in this, especially for those of us who keep the Torah. Okay. So that's why he said to tell them and for them to take to me, bring it to me, a terumah from Ma'ath, from with a direct object marker. When you look at these words, you want to find the aleph and the tav. And the aleph and the tav, again, is your mark. It is the destination. Okay. So I want to guide you to what I'm talking about. That's what he's saying from what I'm going to point you to. I'm asking for you to give me something and to lift something up from what? Every ish, that a yasher, the yiravenu. Okay. Talking to the third person masculine singular. And the third person masculine singular could be either it or it could be the individual. Okay. So this noun right here is found over here. And when he's expressing, when he's talking to the children of Israel and it mentions an ish, right? A lot of people will say, well, it doesn't include the women. That's not true. Okay. When the Most High sees a man, when he sees a man, what does he see? He sees an ish. What else does he see?
He sees the two as one.
Yes. And so if I want to make that two the one, I'm going to put the on it. Okay. So I want to show you this. This is an ish. Okay. And this is a isha. Okay. The isha. You see the that's on terumah, and then the isha. So when he's talking to a man, he's talking, okay, to both the male and the female. He's letting them know, okay, that I'm looking for this from any man. He looks at a woman as a man with a womb. The only difference is she has a womb. That's it. That's the only difference between us. You have just different parts, but you're still a man. You're still from, that substance of a man. Okay. So you guys are just like us. You're just different in your own little way. Okay. Very special. And again, you are the in everything. You're the in Adamah. You're the in Terumah. You're the in Torah. You're the in Asa. You're the praise Yah. Okay. So that's who you are. But I need this from someone who is willing. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. Okay. So we're going to get this deep. So I can't go to it right now. But I need somebody with a willing libo. Okay. And we know what the heart is. We understand that that's the mind in Hebrew, right? Consisting of two letters, which is the lamed and the bet. The lamed is the staff, which is the authority. And the bet is within. Okay. So when you talk about the heart, you talk about the mind, you're talking about the authority within someone. That's what we're talking about. So what I'm looking for is for someone to give me something that is willing, from a willing mind. Okay. And it has to be upon their own authority that's within themselves, that you will take from these individuals this eth, pointing directly as this is what I'm asking for. Okay. I'm pointing you directly to what I'm looking for. That's why the Torah portion is called Terumah. So it's not just about the offering. What is it about?
Someone's willingness to give the offering?
Yes. It's someone who's willing to give. So what we understand from this is the Most High, let's ask ourselves a question. Does the Most High need anything from us?
No.
So what's the goal? What's the goal? If he doesn't need anything from us, and does he need anything from them? No. He doesn't. But it says that he will give. I want it from these type of people. I want this from a person who is willing to give it to me with the willingness of their mind to lift something up to me. And that could be anything. Okay. And he says, and then he explains what this terumah is. Okay. So I'm going to tell you, he says that this wazot is the ha terumah. He puts a definite article on it. So you and I will not get it mistaken what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a offering. I'm talking about the offering. Different, very distinct. Okay, because a could be anything. So the Most High now is being very specific about what he's asking for. He says, in which you, that's that right there, that tav, that you shall tiku, that you take from my itam, from them. Okay, from them. Now, when you look at this word right here, from them, you would say, oh, it's just from them. That's what he means, just from them. Well, how do you know it's from them? Well, let's look at it. Let's break it down. That mem right there is from, because that's the preposition right here. They let you know it's a preposition from. There's the letter M right there. Then all of a sudden, he tells you it's a direct object. So what part of this word is a direct object? What two letters are the direct object that's pointing you to something?
Aleph, Tav.
There you go. Aleph and the Tav is what you would call the direct object marker. Why are they calling it a direct object marker? Because the object, okay, they're pointing the verb, which is to take, to the object, okay? And the object here that he's telling right now in this, right here in this line, is I need you to take it from them. They're the object now. Do you understand? The verb is always going to go to the object. The action, he said, you will take from them, you shall take from them, from itam, from them. He puts a aleph tav right there because he's letting us know they're the object that I'm talking about. Okay, so right here, and this is the article, the definite article of the terumah, but my true intention is to go to them and take something from a person or the individuals. So looking at this word may itam, you say, well, what part of that is them? Because the mem is from, the aleph and the tav is the direct object that points this right here. And then the them right there is this. That mark and that letter. And that's the third person masculine plural. So the question I ask is, well, why is the Most High pointing an arrow directly to them? Because the focus is not necessarily on the terumah, but it's on the people. Now the Most High is in search of finding out who has a willingness. That's why it's pointing directly to them. So the terumah is literally not about the offering. The Terumah is being used to find out who is willing. Okay. So this week, when we do our Torah portion, understand when we're reading this, we have to look for things like that. Like you got to ask yourself the question, okay, why is it this dimension? What is he saying? Why? Why does he want this? Okay. So then he lists here in verse number 3, now that we know what it's really about, that Yah's just using the Terumah as an example, or the means in which to find out. So the first thing I'm going to go for is the gold. That's the first thing I want. The second thing I want to get from them is the silver. And then third, I want to get the bronze. Okay. So when we read this, we're like, okay, this is the gold and the silver and the bronze. And we understand what it's for. We understand that part, right? So I've asked you, what's the gold for? What did you say? You would say it's for the Ark of the Covenant. You would say that it's going to be for the planks inside of the Mishkan. You would say that it was for the spoons. It's for the showbread table. It's for all that. Okay. Silver is used for the sockets, and the bronze is used for the claps. The gold is for claps. The silver is for different hooks. So you're going to find out all those types of things. Well, why are you sharing it with me today? Because I'm only here today. I have to share it today. Okay. But what is the real understanding? What's more? Why is it because it's gold? What's the difference between gold and silver and bronze? What's the differences? They're all metal, so they have that in common, and they're all what they would say precious. What is the Most High telling us about this precious metals? If I'm asking it from the people, is everybody going to bring me gold?
No,
Is everybody going to bring me silver?
no.
So if that's the case, right? And it's not about the Terumah, it's about what are we looking for? What is Yah after?
He's after a willingness from the people to bring him, an offering, but everybody can afford to get gold or silver. Some people may not, be able to bring bronze for that matter, but he's making it so that everybody can bring something. That's how I see it.
Yes. But ultimately, the thing that's in question is the mind. It's about the willingness of the mind. Some people call it your spirit. Some people call it your desires. Call it whatever you want to. It's the mind. It's where everything takes place. It's the authority within. Now, question is, where did they get the gold, the silver, and the bronze? Who gave it to them? Yes. Who gave it to them?
Mizraim, the Egyptians.
Yes, they did. So literally, everybody left with some gold, some silver, and some bronze. All of them. Because he said they were draped. Your sons, your daughters are going to put these jewels on you. Go borrow. People are giving them everything. Okay. But like you said, there might be somebody who had a little bit more, some a little bit less. Okay. But the bottom line is the Most High is trying to see who is who. He's trying to figure out who is the stingy one, who is the giving one, who is the loving one, who is these, right? So right now, remember, let's keep it in context. The Most High is literally telling Moshe the Torah and the commandments. And he shares this with him. This is the first thing that he shares after Moshe goes back into the cloud and ascends up on the mountain. This is the first thing he talks to him about. Right? This is the first thing he says. And while he's asking them, he told him to go ask the people when he comes down, because this is going to be a 40-day teaching. When he's giving him the instructions and he's asking him for these things, tell him to go command the children of Israel to say or to do these things. They're down there right now. Not right now, excuse me. Within the 40-day period, they got a little antsy and said, well, you know what? We're going to do our thing. Okay. So the Most High is asking for the metal, the precious metals that he gave to them. And so it's an acknowledgement of what he did for them. That's what this is about. He's testing them to find out if they're willing to give something to him that they got freely from him. Are they really to lift up what he did? Because if they did this, if they were willing to give it away, they understood that he's the one who gave it to them. And if he gave it to them one time, he could give it to them again. And by the way, while they're out in the wilderness, what value does the gold, the silver, and the bronze literally have? Besides it just being gold, silver, and bronze.
In the desert, it doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything. Not to the Most High in this sense. He's using it. But for them, you know, people hold on to things. And the Most High is going to talk to us. He's letting us know a lot of people hold on to things that I gave them, and they're not willing to give me anything because they don't recognize that I'm the one who gave it to them. The point I'm trying to make here, everyone, is to let you know that there is different levels of people. You got your gold standard people, you got your silver, and you got your bronze. When the Most High is asking from us, some of us are going to give him the gold, and some of us are going to give him the silver, and some of us are only going to give him the bronze. There's levels. There's what you would call when you go through these levels of precious metals, there's a process for purification. And it also talks about, I think they call it, they have different weights, you know, specific weights that are associated with each one of these metals. And that's why one is more precious than the other, because the silver is not as precious as the gold, and neither is the bronze. So you see this different tier of a level. And what I mean by that is the level that the Most High has asked for a majority of everything that has to do with the Holy of Holies, the place where he's at, everything in that place, the beams on the wall, the walls themselves, the Ark of the Covenant, the mercy seat, there's all gold. Every last bit of it is gold. Okay, that's inside is gold. Okay, everything. Then when you go into the place where you have the showbread table, that's made of gold. And then there's some things that has to do with bronze and some silver. And so the curtains have a certain gold or silver or whatever, or bronze, depending on what it is. But there's the different levels inside of the sanctuary that determines the level that a person can go to. Okay, that they're able to go, or what it represents in terms of the Most High's majesty. The person who's willing to give the Most High is the one of the majestic mind. They understand. They understand that they have to give the Most High that which is the most valuable to them. They give it to him. They value the Most High more. Okay? Because what it is not that they didn't have it, it's what they're willing to give. Okay? Next, we have the blue, the purple, and the what they would call the scarlet, the Tekhalith. Now, I want to bring out a point about this Tekhalith right here, because the Tekhalith is actually not a real blue. Okay, if you do your research, you'll find out that that color is really like this color. It's not blue. So when you see over in Israel, they have that flag and it's a blue and white like this, then you know that that's not the true color. The true color is this color right here, which is more of a lavender color. Okay, it's called Tekhalith. And purple, of course, is the argamon, which is a deep purple. Let me see here if I can pull that up right here. The purple, they don't have a color for it that I see. They don't have a dark purple. I don't have one for it. Yeah, they don't have a dark purple. But it's purple, and the last one is more of a crimson type of red color. Okay. So the true colors of the tabernacle are not blue, purple, and scarlet, okay, red. What it really is more of a lavender color. So get rid of that. It's more of a lavender and a dark purple, okay, and a blood type scarlet, a blood color red. All right. So he asked for those three colors. And this blue, this Tekalith color right here is going to be inside of the tzitzit. That's what color is inside of the tzitzit. That's okay. So that has to do with, and also too, the coverings that when the children of Israel were traveling, they would have to actually take these colors and cover the Ark of the Covenant, cover the table. So when people say, "Oh, it's the color of the heavens," right, and it's blue and all that, it's not that color. It's a Tekalith. It's a lavender color. Okay, so this is a very, very interesting combination of colors that the Most High uses. Then he says that he wants fine linen and goat's hair. So I want the fine linen, the washesh, and I want the ezim, the goat hair. And he wants the skins from a ram that are dyed red, and he wants the skins of a badger, and he wants some acacia wood. I want some acacia wood, some shittim wood. By the way, this acacia wood is only found in Africa. That's the origin of this in particular wood. Okay, so interesting enough, do your research, you'll find out that is it pertains to the land of Africa. I also want the shemen. I want some oil. That's what I want. And the reason why I want this oil is because I want some light, and I want that for this, and the spices for oil, and I want for the anointing oil, and I also want some spices. So oil and spices. So the spices are going to go into the oil for anointing, and the spices are going to go from the incense as well. So I want that. Okay. So these are the items. Okay. And also too, in verse number 7, I also want some onyx stones. He's very peculiar about these stones. So he wants the onyx stones, which has to do with the breastplate. These are the black stones that I want. And so they're going to bring those stones. And then also too, we have some other stones. I think onyx is one of the stones too on the breastplate, if I'm not mistaken. And then he wants some other stones. He doesn't go into detail about what stones he's asking for. He says right here, just give me the stones, and I'm going to put those on the ephod, and I'm going to put those on the breastplate. Verse number 8, and I will make them, okay, excuse me, and they will make for me a mikdash. They're going to make for me a sanctuary. They're going to make for me a place of where I can come and I will meet you at this in particular place. Okay. And I'm going to washakanti. I'm going to dwell, right, in the midst of them. Okay. So I'm going to start right here and explain what there have been some scholarship on this when it says, and I will shakanti in the Bethokam. Okay. Here they would like to say that he's saying that I'm going to dwell in the midst, M-I-D-S-T. I'm going to dwell in the midst of them. Looks like an L. I'm going to dwell in the midst of them. Okay. And talking about inside of them. That's what they were saying. That's what some scholars and some religious people want to say. From my understanding, the Most High is not asking to dwell in the inside of them. Okay. He's not asking. He doesn't, his desire is to be among them, to actually literally live, okay, in the Mikdash. That's where he wants to stay. The Most High had told us, he says, I've never asked, he told David this, I've never asked you to build a building for me. I've always lived in a tent. That's where I've lived at. I've never asked you to build me a tabernacle. The Most High has a dwelling, okay? So he is giving Moshe a pattern of a dwelling place, okay? And he's not asking, like, after I do all these things, that my desire is to dwell inside of them, okay? Because really think about it. without us being religious and trying to make this into something that is not, does the Most High, is his intention to actually, take his literal residence inside of a human body, inside of a place that is made out of dirt and dust? No. Is he willing to live inside of a place that has some uncleannesses on temporary uncleannesses? No. He already has given us a spirit. He has given us a spirit, and the spirit of Elohim, he said, I make them in the image that I see fit for them. A lot of people misinterpret, say, well, we're made in his image. No, we're made in the image that he decided for us to be in. That's what people don't understand. When he talks about, does the Most High have arms and legs, and he's a human being? No, he doesn't. But this is the image that we have, is the image that he wanted to make in order for him to say, well, let me put my spirit, my ruach in them, to my breath inside of them. Okay. So we don't want to ever get it twisted where we think the Most High is living inside of us. The Most High is not going to dwell in any place that's unclean. Period. Okay. Well, Jeremiah 31 says that Ezekiel says that he's going to give us his spirit. Yes, I'll give you my spirit, and my spirit to dwell inside of you. But listen, it's there to teach you and to get you the Torah. Okay. You're still going to die. You're still going to have uncleannesses about you. Okay. So I think that we've been taught the wrong way, because we are what they would call a species of a creation. And we have lost that. And because we've lost that understanding, we don't really see the Most High the way that we ought to see him. I can't begin to tell you how many people think that the Most High is arbitrarily doing things, like he's not in charge, and that sometimes he's involved and sometimes he's not. Okay. I can't begin to tell you how many people don't think that he's created evil. I can't begin to tell you that they really don't think that he is in 100% control and charge of everything. And people think that they have, this free will to do whatever they want. And the question I ask is this, and if we're going to be honest with ourselves, can you right now make your heart, or are you causing yourself to breathe, or is that an automatic process?
Y'all causes us to breathe.
He caused us to breathe. Can you make your heart stop just on your own right now?
No.
No. So you're not in charge of pumping that blood through your body, are you?
Nope.
And we're not in charge of the air that we're receiving, are we? No. No, not at all. You're not in charge of those, what they would call involuntary things. Can you stop yourself from blinking?
No.
No. You understand? Can you stop yourself from having to go to the restroom?
No.
No, you can't. So we have forgotten, and we've been taught that we are in control. And that's the problem. We don't understand our destination. We don't understand why we were made. Because these men and the women have decided to teach us things that is not true about the Most High. You and I are what they call a creation. Okay. And the Most High did breathe the breath of life into us, and it is his breath. He said, if I was to take back my breath, everybody will die. And he remembers that we're nothing but dust. Okay. So we have to look at Yah in some different eyes now, with some different lenses. Okay. He requires our complete and absolute total commitment. Right. And he's letting us know off the top that, listen, everything that you and I have is because of what he gave us. Okay. If you had a meal today, it's because the Most High saw fit to put that meal in your stomach. Because not everybody ate today, but you did. And why? What's the difference? He loves one and hates the other? Not necessarily. It just means that the Most High has provided for us. If you have a roof over your head, it's not because of your own volition. You might think it's because of your own volition. The Most High has allowed us to do these things. Okay. Because if it wasn't for the breath that's in us, we would not be able to do anything. You understand? The mind that Most High has given us, he has given that mind to us. And he says, like, if I make you my image, I'm giving you my character. And because we breathe his breath and we live off of everything that he's given us, we're eating his food, and we're, the body that he has designed is able to help us get through our daily lives. We owe everything to the Most High. And this is the reason why the Psalms and the singers and the Levites and all of them are continually giving the Most High praise and saying that his grace continues forever. Yah provides for everything, not just us, but he provides for the animals. He changes the seasons, and he's not getting the credit that he deserves. Okay. So we have to start framing our mind around that idea that, guess what? Everything I have is from the Most High. I'm 100% dependent upon him. Okay. And yes, we could do great things, but the more that we live the way that he's asked us to live, we're demonstrating more of his character. Okay. So the Most High right here is testing and trying again. He's testing their character. He wants to see who is the type of people to give me what I'm asking. All right. So before they were able to even receive this request and this command, they have fallen. And even after the fall, which he's showing us, even after their fall, did he still receive from their hands the things that he's asking for? Yes or no?
Yes.
So he's a merciful Elohim.
Yes.
Yes. And he's giving us something that he gave us something that we already that we have the ability to give back to him. So if he put everything in their hand, whose is it?
It belongs to Yahweh.
It belongs to him. So what is he really trying to figure out?
Who's going to be willing to give back to him?
Yeah, and yes, and who trusts me? Who trusts what I say? See, a lot of times we don't want to be tested. We don't want to, it's like, if you really think about it, the Most High doesn't need any of this. But this is his desire. His desire is to dwell among his people. That's one thing I don't want you to miss from this study tonight and for the rest of this week. The Most High's desire, everyone, is to dwell among his people. And this is what he's telling us from verse number 1 all the way to number 8. The only way that the Most High is going to ever dwell with us is by what? What is it in verses 1 through 8 that he's looking for? I want to know if you have a willing mind. That's what I want to know. That's the only way that I can dwell in the midst of my people. I don't need your silver, and I don't need your gold, and I don't need your bronze. I don't need that. I can go get that from anybody. Matter of fact, I can have somebody deliver it. I can tell all the nations to bring everything I need right here. So I'm getting the people involved in this building of a relationship. I want to build a relationship with you, but it has to be based upon your willingness. Marriage. I want to be married, but guess what? It can only be if you're willing to Shemoah, listen and obey what I'm saying, and have some respect and guard what I said. That's how I know that you trust me, because you know that I'm not going to say anything to you that's going to harm you. You know, I'm not going to say anything to lead you in the wrong direction. You know, I have your best interest at heart. That's what the Most High is telling his people. So that's what he wants us to understand from verses 1 to 8. That's the type of people I'm looking for. So I can dwell in the midst. And now, if there was nobody willing, would he be dwelling in the midst of them? No. He wants them to want him. That's what I'm saying. I hope you were able to see that tonight. I hope you were able to capture that. Okay. That's what he's looking for. A willingness. And we're going to talk more about that later on this week. So in your studies this week, reach out to the Most High. And then we can give it to him. But it's not about what we can give. It's about whether or not we have the type of mind to be willing. So it might not be silver and it might not be gold for you and I. It might not be bronze. It may not be any of those things. It might be something totally different. But whatever it is, listen to what I'm about to tell you. Whatever it is that you have, right? And if he is to ask you for it, the question is are you willing to give it to him? Do you trust him? So you can draw nearer to him. So you can have some stake in the game. Look how he is. He's inviting them into his world because he provides Moshe with the actual pattern. He tells them everything the way it is, trying to get them involved. You know what I'm talking about, Dr. Yared? You're over a whole bunch of people. What do you got to do? You want to have them some stake in the game. You want them to be involved in the process. You can't do it on your own. Yeah, you're the leader, but you got to get people involved, and you have to show them that their value is found in everybody coming together. We can't do this by ourselves, but again, it needs some willingness to bring people together. They have to have some type of purpose, and they have to have some type of stake in the game. Otherwise, if they're not vested in it, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to be of any value. And you don't want anybody to be part of a project. You don't want anybody to be part of a marriage. You don't want anybody to be part of a business. You don't want anybody to be part of nothing, a friendship, nothing, if they are not willing to be there on their own, if it's not of their own volition, of their own desire. So praise Yah for tonight.